The best record in the National League was on the line in Milwaukee as the Cubs visit the Brewers, who had the Miz on the mound. This is MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome in once again to MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. My name is JD Hafron, host of Locked On Cardinals. I am one of the hosts here at MLB Game Night. Jon Frisch, one half of Locked On Angels, joining us here tonight. I don't know if you guys know this. I just found this out over the weekend. John has actually sang karaoke with Sean Manaea. I'll let him tell you what band he did. What is it really a band if it's a boy band?
It's a boy band. Yeah.
It is a boy band, but you'll have to ask him about it at some point. Give him a follow and find out for yourself. Coming up in today's show, some major news involving Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase. A scary moment involving one of the biggest trade chips on the market right now as we get closer to the trade deadline. Shohei and the Dodgers go to the Midwest, try to cool off the Cincinnati Reds. But we're going to start with the Cubs at Brewers, two of the best teams in baseball. They're battling for the top spot in the NL Central, the top spot in the National League, as well as the top spot in all of Major League Baseball with their record. Cubs are in Milwaukee for this particular game, but we did have some unfortunate news that broke late tonight for the Cubs family and just for, the game of baseball. Hall of Fame second baseman Ryne Sandberg tragically passed away from his battle with cancer at the age of 65, has been battling against it for a while now, finally succumbed to it, elected into the Hall of Fame back in 2005, 10-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glove winner, 7 Silver Sluggers, home run derby champ. Looking at Ryne Sandberg, you would never expect there to be a ton of pop in that body, but he could knock it out the park with some of the best of them. NL MVP in 1984. Obviously, as a Cardinals fan, we saw a lot of Ryne Sandberg when he played with the Chicago Cubs, and he was always that guy on the other side of the field that you just had a lot of respect for, always did things the right way. Just one of the most steady players of all time, and on top of that, if you knew him, one of the great guys in the game of baseball. Yeah. So sad news that Ryne Sandberg did pass away. But there was a game to play, and this 3-game set saw the Brewers send the Miz, Jacob Mizorowski, to the mound to oppose the Cubs, Matthew Boyd. So you got 2 All-Stars here, John, taking on each other, and which team would end up taking game 1 and hold the place in the NL Central, first place, I should say, in the NL Central at the end of the night? Why don't we turn it over to a very happy Chuck of Locked On Brewers, who's got some words for Cubs fans after this one.
Cubs fans like to look at AmFam Field as Wrigley Field North. Where were you, Cub fans, after that first inning? Hey, everybody. Chuck Freeman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers. A little quiet after that first inning. Brewers gave up a 3-run first with Mizorowski, and then they just boat raced the Cubs on their way to an easy blowout win. Frelick homers, Vaughn homers, and Yelich homers. Mizorowski, after that tough first inning where he gave up the 3 runs, set down 10 in a row, and the bullpen takes over. And the Brewers back where they belong, sole possession of first place, the owners of this division for a few years, and right back where they belong in sole possession of first place. Brewers made a trade earlier in the day. We'll talk about that on the next edition of Locked On Brewers, drop a little bit later on tonight. Please subscribe.
Chuck, I don't know how much of a wrestling fan you are, John, but Chuck in the
video
kind of becoming the heel of this series between these two teams. He's doing the Hogan with the ear thing. Like, I can't hear you.
I've never heard him talk trash before. I like that side of Chuck.
He's been getting, so I haven't paid attention to him because he's going back and forth with Cubs fans now, and they are getting fired up with Chuck Freeman at Locked On Brewers. So make sure you follow him and talk all the smack you want. He's more than willing to give it back to you in a fun way. Let's not get too personal on here because I've seen some of these tweets and they're like, whoa. Anyway, the Brewers are still keeping an eye on that pitch count as Mizorowski throws 80 pitches total after a long top of the first inning that took 40 pitches to get through. Nick Mears would get the win for the Brewers. Trevor McGill, what a beast this dude has been as a closer for the Brewers this year. Who needs Josh Hader. Who needs Devin Williams? They just keep finding these guys. Collects his 24th save with a 3-pitch K to end the game. We do have a video here with the passing of Ryne Sandberg. Sam from Locked On Cubs wants to share his thoughts on the legendary Chicago Cub.
Get beat in Milwaukee today, but that really wasn't the big story. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast, and unfortunately, in the middle of the game, it was reported that Cubs legend, Major League Baseball Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg passed away on Monday evening. We talked about this a little bit on the show last week. That that first weekend out of the All-Star break, it just didn't feel like there was a whole lot of good news with that situation, and it became very real, very quick Monday night. So it just kind of was one of those things that just made the game feel like it didn't matter that much, and so that's going to really be the focus of the short. The Cubs got beat, and it was a much tougher day off the field for Cubs fans and the organization. So rest in peace to Rhino. We'll talk about that on the show, and then we'll get into tonight's loss.
Yeah, so tough day for the Cubs family. So thoughts and prayers going out to everybody with the Ryne Sandberg family. And of course, if you know some Cubs fans, yes, you might have a rivalry with them, but it sucks when you lose a legend that's been a part of your team for quite a long time. The Cardinals have obviously had a few. I'm sure the Angels have lost them as well, John, over the years. So, you feel for them in this moment of time. So baseball, it's important, but it's not always the most important thing, is it, John?
Yeah, and the most important things rise to the top, right? With everything that Ryne Sandberg was able to be for Cubs fans, but also for baseball fans. I grew up toward the end of his career, but I loved watching WGN because it was a national channel, and I got to hear Harry Carey make
Harry
the calls,
and Steve Stone doing it, yeah.
And so just a lot of memories growing up of those Cubs games that were on TV, between waiting for wrestling to come on, and so that's a childhood memory for me. So rest in peace to the legend Ryne Sandberg.
Yes. So final score in that one, Brewers take it 8-4. Moving to the West Coast, Mets at the Padres. Pretty exciting one in San Diego tonight. Mets winners of 7 in a row, while the Padres come off a heated 4-game series split in St. Louis, where the benches had to come out a couple of times. Your starters in this one, Dylan Cease against Frankie Montas, and neither one of the starters would actually be around all that long in this one. Yeah. Play of the game early on, Fernando Tatis Jr. robbing Mark Vientos of a home run. Went up over the wall, brings it back, and then on the
transfer
the exchange, he drops it, but they count the out. So, because I was like, oh, come on, you can't take that away from him. But Vientos would have his revenge later on with a grand slam in his next at bat. That slam would actually knock Cease out of this game, 4 2/3 innings, 9 strikeouts. And that sounds great, right? But 5 runs, 5 hits, 5 walks. Me and you were talking about this, like, who's going to want Dylan Cease when he's doing these things? Like, he's okay for a little bit, and then it just explodes on him. It's very, very strange. Montas was cruising as well until that 5th inning when he got bounced. 4 1/3 for him, 5 runs, 8 hits, 3 Ks. After the 5th, the Padres had a 6-5 lead. The bullpens would then settle things down because they both have good pins, and we wouldn't see any more scoring until that 9th inning, and that's when Ronnie Mauricio, that's right, solo shot off the All-Star Suarez to tie the game at 6. Hit a home run on Sunday, too, John, to tie things up against the Giants. And that is a game the Mets would eventually win. Would it happen this time? No, not this time. Padres answer in the bottom of the 9th inning against newly acquired lefty Gregory Soto, who you also acquired on your fantasy team. So that sucks for you, John.
You can blame me, Mets fans. I'm sorry.
There's a leadoff single in the inning by Xander Bogaerts that kind of set things in motion. There's a throwing error in there by Soto. And then Elias Diaz hits the 2-out RBI single to win the game. The win snaps the Mets winning streak at 7 and pushes the Padres winning streak to 3 in a row as they continue to try to keep pace with the Dodgers in the NL West, but they're also firmly set inside that NL wild card right now as well. So a big win for the Padres. Mets, they'll brush it off. But it was a fun game to watch. So if you got to catch it, good for you. Speaking of getting caught, another Guardian has been suspended, John. We've got the details coming up on that suspension right here on MLB Game Night. Today's episode being brought to you by Game Day Hugh, spelled H-U-E. Game Day Hugh makes clean, no-logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting the colors speak for you. There's no giant logos, just smart, versatile style that just works on game day. It's definitely going to work on the golf course. That's where I wear my particular hat, or anywhere in between, whether you're doing shopping, whatever you might be doing. You got to throw the ball cap on and go out, get something done, get the car washed, whatever it is. It pairs perfectly with what I normally wear just in everyday life, but specifically on the golf course. So it looks good. It's subtle. Plus, if I'm going golfing and I'm taking this particular hat, which you're looking in the video, I also got to grab the glove. The split shade glove as well, which is obviously going to keep, it's very sweaty in the Midwest where I live. So you got to make sure that the palms are dry, and the glove obviously is a hit for that. Made for the golf course, or the perfect gift for the fan who has everything. Right now you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals. So now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15. Back on MLB Game Night, we are going to take you to Cleveland. Rockies were in town taking on the Guardians, but that was not the big news. More off-the-field news here for Cleveland, and not in the good way. Prior to the game, MLB announced the suspension of Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase. He was placed on non-disciplinary paid leave as part of MLB's sports betting investigation. Stop me if you've heard this before, because it did happen to another Guardians pitcher. Remember Luis Ortiz earlier this year, after he faced my Cardinals, actually got in trouble. And this has to do with the uncompetitive first pitches that these guys are throwing. So on betting apps, you can bet if a player is going to throw a strike or a ball with that first pitch. And that's where the investigation is targeting right now. And there's some video footage of some really bad first pitches that are clearly going to be balls. And that's what's going on here. So we don't know how long he's going to be suspended. Obviously, John, this is going to put a damper on some of the trade talk that was going on with Clase. A lot of teams seem to be very much interested in him. And now he is unavailable at the moment. So that is that's a big loss for the Guardians. We actually have Justin from Locked On Guardians on the loss of Clase for this team and the implications that it means for their future in the trade deadline.
Clase won't be pitching for the Cleveland Guardians anymore, but that's not because he's been traded. It's because he has been placed on non-disciplinary paid leave. Now, he is also tied to the gambling investigation where Luis Ortiz is also out. Clase will be out until August 31st at least. We have no timetable on Ortiz, but now Clase is also swept up in this gambling investigation for the Guardians. The Guardians have been told these are the only two players or personnel that are connected, and they won't not expected to have any more people connected to this, hopefully. But this is a major blow for the Guardians. Obviously lost Ortiz already, and now Clase, who is their closer, who could have been traded, and now he's going to be out, and possibly both these guys their careers could be over. The Guardians will have to use Cade Smith at closer, which is going to drive up his ARB cost. They can't trade Clase for any pieces now. So this really affects them in multiple ways. Clase's career could be over. They can't trade him. And they also have to use Cade Smith at closer, which hurts the bullpen and also is going to drive up his cost. So the Guardians are in a world hurt. Their 25-5 season is over. And now their offseason is going to be in major trouble. Tune in to Locked On Guardians for more.
But you say he says the season's over. Do you feel that way, John? That's it's two pitchers, and I know it's a closer, but do we feel like the whole team has just collapsed?
Yeah, well, they certainly did tonight, because it was Cade Smith who took over for Clase, as Justin mentioned.
Who John also picked up in fantasy. I'm
sorry, Cleveland
here, dude.
Sorry, Cleveland fans. Well, I had to replace Emmanuel Clase on my fantasy team, and so I did the same thing the Guardians did. I brought in Cade Smith, and he came into the ninth with a 5-4 lead, but the Rockies took the lead in the ninth. Smith ends up giving up 4 runs in 1/3 of an inning. And Justin said something that I don't even think that everybody's thinking about, that the career of Emmanuel Clase could be over if they determine that he's guilty of doing what this MLB investigation is looking into. That's insane to me. What's he, 26, 27? Like that's crazy. And he was going to be such a huge piece of this trade deadline. So I don't know, man. I don't understand these guys who are already making a ton of money. I don't know what they gain from this, but it's very, very crazy the fact that their careers could be over after this.
Yeah, 27 years old, 27,
Wow.
and dominant too. Like
Yeah.
he's one of the best in the business. So to flush it all away for something like this seems, let's just say, pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Pretty stupid.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on to the Marlins at the Cardinals. Marlins have been one of the hottest teams in baseball. Last 30 games, they were 20-10. Only the Blue Jays and the Brewers have had better records over that time span. Meanwhile, the Cards have been stumbling since the All-Star break, 3-7. But this night belonged to Cardinal starter Andre Palante, who dazzled with 7 shutout innings, allowing just 1 hit. He punched out 4, and he did it, John, on 81 pitches. That's the most impressive thing to me about it.
I thought of picking him up too, and I didn't.
No,
So
don't you.
There you go.
Don't you stay away from my Cardinals. Do not pick them up. 10 ground ball outs in this one, and when Palante's working, that's what he does. He's got that sinker that they just drive into the ground. Cardinals offense broke it open with a 5-run 7th inning, highlighted by a bases clearing 3-run double by shortstop Mason Wentz. So it was nice to see him get a big hit. Marlins starter Edward Cabrera, who's been, talked about at the trade deadline here, a solid 6 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned, 4 Ks, 3 walks. But their offense got nothing done tonight. So both teams more likely are going to be sellers. That's what's going to happen. So these rosters could be altered significantly during this series. They got 2 more games against each other before Thursday's trade deadline. On the Cardinals side of things, I can't speak for the Marlins, but on the Cardinals side of things, it's nice to see like some of their young guys, the guys that are not going to be traded. These aren't the veterans with the big contracts or anything like that. It was the young guys like Mason Wentz and Jordan Walker and Alec Burleson, Palante, that were able to do 90% of the damage in this one. And this is part of the core that they want to grow with and move forward with for next season. So that was a positive for the Cardinals side of things. Moving on to the Braves at the Royals. It was Spencer Strider for the Braves against the immortal Rich Hill, who just does not age in his second start for the Royals. Let's hear from Jake from Locked On Braves on how Atlanta overcame a late inning attempt comeback for Kansas City.
Atlanta Braves win a baseball game again. Yes, it happened as they took down the Kansas City Royals 10-7 on Monday night. Jake Mastriani here from Locked On Braves, and struggles early here for Spencer Strider in this one, but was able to settle down and work into the 6th inning. But the offense was the story of the game for the Atlanta Braves as they do put up 10 runs on the board. Ron Acuna Jr. with a massive home run and a big game from him. Marcell Ozuna, maybe his last home run as an Atlanta Brave, goes deep in this game as well. And the Braves draw 14 walks in this game, just completely annoying the Royals pitchers in this one, putting up a big number, and they needed it because the bullpen almost blew it late in the 9th inning as they went into the night with a 6-run lead and had to call on Raisel Iglesias, another trade candidate that might be moved here pretty soon to close things out. But the Atlanta Braves do get a win on Monday night over the Kansas City Royals. We'll talk more about this one over on the Locked On Braves postcast on your Locked On Braves podcast feed.
Yeah, the Braves had Strider on the mound. He is basically the last guy standing for this rotation. But even he's missed time, obviously, at the beginning of the year. All 5 of the original starters for the Atlanta Braves has missed time at some point this year. So bad that they had to get Eric Fetty from the Cardinals, who's going to be starting for them tomorrow, I believe. And then they also picked up the ghost of Carlos Carrasco, who apparently was still in the league somewhere, and they got him as well. So not your normal Atlanta Braves type of season going on here. Rich Hill had a bit of a rough outing compared to his first start, 4 innings, 4 earned runs on 3 hits. But as Jake mentioned, it was a Braves offense that powered their way to the win. Final score, 10-7. Diamondbacks at the Tigers. Tigers found their offense in their finale against the Blue Jays on Sunday with that 10-4 victory. Coming out of the All-Star break, the Tigers, remember, they dropped 8 of their last 10. They were they couldn't get anything going offensively. They called upon rookie starter Troy Melton to handle the D-backs offense on Monday. D-backs got a bit of a scare in this one. I think a lot of Major League Baseball GMs shuddered a little bit when they saw what happened to Eugenio Suarez, the third baseman for the Diamondbacks, who got hit in the hand. Remember, he got hit in the All-Star game, John, and everybody was like, got to be kidding me. If this is how it's going to end, was okay after that one. Gets hit in this one, has to leave the game. The x-rays afterwards, apparently clean. He does not have a break. One of the MLB beat writers, Steve Gilbert, said the right index finger is what they were looking at. They are negative, and that he will undergo more tests tomorrow. So as of right now, people can breathe a sigh of relief that Eugenio apparently is not going to miss any time, but we'll check tomorrow because sometimes they miss things, and that would just be a major blow if Gino was off the trade market due to an injury. What do you think about his market right now? Are you where do you think, if you got to make a guess, where do you think he might land?
Oh, man.
There's a lot of places chasing after him.
Before that Ryan McMahon trade, I thought him to the Yankees was a sure thing, but now I'm not so sure. But I know the market is still out there for him, barring any injury here. But to me, it's he's the top trade prospect in all of baseball. So you can't go wrong with a good third baseman. So yeah, wherever he lands, that team is going to get a gem. And I think even the Diamondbacks are holding their breath because they want to get some value back. Yeah. I've heard the Mariners want to bring him back to Seattle, which is an option. Anytime somebody puts on that Mariners uniform, though, it just seems like everything they were doing good, just like it's like the Monstars in Space Jam. Yeah, it sucks the life right out of them. Just ask Josh Naylor, right? He finally got a home run tonight, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I think that they're in on him as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up.
That's why it was kind of, I giggled a little bit because it was the Tigers who have been talked about trying to get him, who hit him tonight. Yeah. And they're the ones who got him. And so it's like, whoops, whoa, what are you doing? Oh, you're not going to make this trade? Then we will hit you in your right index finger. But yeah, the NL Central guys are chasing after him. The Brewers, Cubs, Reds are talking about it. And it's funny because a lot of these guys already had him once in his career. Detroit had him, the Reds had him, Seattle had him, and now they're all trying to get him back on their roster. So we'll see how it all plays out. Thursday is going to be that trade deadline. Moving on to the Rays at the Yankees. Speaking of the Yankees, Tampa Bay made a deal to send catcher Danny Jansen to the Brewers, as Chuck alluded to earlier, but I don't know if you saw this, John. There was footage of him still in the dugout during this game. So has anybody told him that he doesn't play for them anymore? He's not going to play for them anymore? It seemed a little bit odd that he was still hanging out in the dugout this late after all of these rumors had taken place. So I don't know if it's official yet. Maybe he doesn't know either, but he was in that dugout. But the Rays have struggled lately. We all know this. They're not that far out of the wild card race, but they got to start cleaning things up. They got to start winning some ball games. They picked up the win in this one, 4-2, behind Drew Rasmussen on the mound and a Junior Caminero 2-run home run. We got Brian from Locked On Yankees on why New York losing this one hurts as a Yankees fan.
Yankees dropped game one of their series to the Tampa Bay Rays 4-2, and this is a bigger loss than some may think. I'm Brian McKeon from Locked On Yankees. Yeah, dropping this game is big because you had Toronto actually lose their first game of their series in Baltimore. They got blown out in Baltimore. You had an opportunity to gain a game on them in the standings against a Tampa Bay team that was reeling coming into the Bronx, and you wind up dropping this game. Only 6 singles for the Yankees, not a single extra base hit. You get 2 runs, some solid fielding. Not an awful start from Schlittler, but could have been better. The bullpen looked really good, but it really was for naught as the Yankees lose 4-2. You have to be able to come back and win this series against Tampa Bay. This is the kind of team you need to beat, a team that's in sell mode who traded their starting catcher earlier in the day. We'll be discussing all of it on Locked On Yankees all week.
But did they? We don't know. What if he just doesn't not going? I'm staying right here.
Not doing it. I'd go to the Brewers.
I think that's a nice trade for the Brewers if it does eventually go through. He's a nice piece and has come up with some big hits for Tampa Bay this year. So a very another wise move by the Brewers who just continue to do some smart things. Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers went to the Midwest. They're trying to cool off the Cincinnati Reds in the Queen City. We'll let you know how things went down in that game. Coming up next on MLB Game Night. Dodgers dropped 2 of 3 to the Red Sox over the weekend, while the Reds have won 6 of their last 9 coming into Monday's game. Pitching matchup in this one, pretty good one. Yoshinobu Yamamoto got the ball for LA against the electric rookie Chase Burns for Cincinnati, who's not getting the wins, but he's piling up the strikeouts so far in his young career. We got Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds with his thoughts on what went down and what the Reds need to do in order to get back on track in this playoff chase.
The Reds tried in the end, but they waited way too long to get anything going in this game. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto absolutely dominated this Cincinnati Reds lineup. They got nothing going. I mean, they got one run in the bottom of the first inning, and it kind of felt like they found a formula against him, and he adjusted super quick, and the Reds had no answer for it. Bad at bats all night long. But another great game from Chase Burns. Chase Burns pitched well enough to win this ball game. He just didn't get the kind of help that he needed, and then the bullpen came in and gave up even more. So ultimately, the Reds' winning streak ends, and now they are behind the 8 ball once again. Hopefully, they can get at least one in this series. They're going to have to come up with some more timely hits than waiting until the end when they need a grand slam to get things going. We'll see what the Reds have tomorrow.
And this is one of the reasons why bringing Suarez back to Cincinnati is something they're very much interested in.
That's
they think
another
that
one right there. Yeah.
one more big bat might really set them over and really make them a contender this year. As you mentioned, Chase Burns, a good night, 5 2/3 innings, only 3 earned runs, 10 strikeouts once again on 91 pitches. Kid's got a cannon for an arm. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch if you're rooting for the Reds. If you're in the division against him, good luck to my Cardinals. Let's go on to Phillies at the White Sox. Phillies head to the south side of Chicago to face Chicago White Sox. Christopher Sanchez, lefty, took the mound for the Phillies. Remember, he had that amazing game his last time out. Complete game. He was incredible. Could he have a repeat performance? Let's go to Connor of Locked On Phillies to find out.
The Phils offense gets shut down in Chicago. Only 6 hits in the game. They lose 6-2. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. And the offense just didn't get it done tonight. Christopher Sanchez didn't really either. And the upside, I guess, right, is when Sanchez and Wheeler have off nights, their other guys average nights. But still, it shows you when you don't have your top guys going like your top guys in the rotation, makes it much harder for this team to win baseball games. That's a strong argument in favor of people who need to see this lineup added to at the trade deadline. The 6 hits, yeah, that's also a strong indication because you played a team that came into this game 30 games below 500, and they looked like the better team tonight, and they won and they deserved it. The Phillies need to wake up and get out the bats and have a better outing again tomorrow. But that was your best pitcher going in this series, so that makes you question everything. I still think the Phillies win the next 2 games and win this series, but that was a bad start in Chicago. We'll talk on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
Maybe a trade needs to get them going. There's been a lot of rumors that maybe Luis Robert from the White Sox, the Phillies have interest in him. Could he be switching?
I was going to say, he's going to walk across the field to the other dugout in the middle of a game. Let's go.
It could happen. It's a possibility. Blue Jays at the Orioles. Orioles reached double-digit runs again against Toronto just 2 days after beating the Rockies 18-0 on Saturday. Offense is getting hot at the right time, right before the trade deadline. A lot of trade candidates doing some good things for Baltimore. Cedric Mullins, Ramon Laureano, both homered off of Blue Jay starter Chris Bassett, who was terrible in this one. Their DH, Ryan O'Hearn, the All-Star, also a trade candidate. He was 2 for 5, Ribby 2 runs scored. Jays did get some good performances from Vladdy Jr. and Bo Bichette, who's been on a tear recently, but they end up falling in this one by a score of 11-4. Nationals at the Astros. Wasn't that long ago, remember? The Astros swept the Dodgers, and they looked kind of unstoppable.
Brett was wearing his chain on the show.
Yeah, and they are at 60 wins. It's not like they're in a bad spot, but they're like a speed bump, if you will, right now. Recently losing 4 in a row to the A's. Could they snap that streak against Washington? Well, they got Framber Valdez on the mound. 6 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 12 Ks. Astros rolled, right? Not so fast, my friend. The Nats used 5 different pitchers to shut down the offense of the Astros, hold them to 1 run on 4 hits. Washington gets the game-winning run on a Riley Adams solo shot in the 7th against reliever Brian King. So that's now 5 losses in a row. Maybe the injuries have finally caught up to Houston, John. What do you think?
I feel real bad for Houston.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
But hold on. Is Isaac Paredes like the key to that whole offense? Because since he's been out, the Astros have not been performing very
great.
well.
Great.
Maybe they could use Eugenio Suarez over at third. That's what they should do. Actually, no, I take that back. I don't want to. Don't put him in the AL West. I don't want that.
Speaking of the AL West, we got your Angels at home against the Rangers. Tell us about it, brother.
Yeah. So in this one, they had Jacob deGrom on the mound for the Rangers, and look, he's been great this season. He's on my fantasy team. He took the L tonight as well.
Sounds like you took the L tonight.
I'm the problem. It's me. I'm Taylor Swift. But here's the thing: the Angels have had his number in the 2 starts that he's faced them. Back on July 7th, gave up 3 earned runs on 5 hits. Tonight, charged with 5 earned runs, gave up 2 home runs, one to Kevin Newman, of all people, and Taylor Ward. Now, deGrom did strike out 8, but Taylor Ward hit his 25th home run of the year. That ties a career high from last year. Luis Rengifo also homered in this one, put the Angels up 6-3. Final score was 6-4. Kenley Jansen got the 4-out save, earns career save number 466. Listen, Jansen, Ward, Rengifo, all available. They should be at the very least. Ward has a year of control left after this season, but Rengifo could be a nice utility guy. Jansen certainly could be out there now that Clase is off the board. So we really don't know what they're going to do, JD. This front office for the Angels, they make it a mystery. So come trade deadline time, it's going to be very interesting to watch on Thursday.
All right. Speaking of interesting, Red Sox at the Twins. There was an hour-and-a-half rain delay in the 9th inning.
What are we doing? The game's over. It counts.
But it wasn't over.
Was
there was still half an inning to be played, and it was a very important half inning. We got Brandon from Locked on Twins on how this one ended after that long wait.
The Twins made us stay up late, but it was worth the wait as they walked off the Red Sox in the bottom of the 9th, 5-4. I'm Brandon Warren with your Locked on Twins post-game minute. The Twins and Red Sox endured a 90-minute rain delay between the top and bottom halves of the 9th inning. Not sure I've ever seen that before, but they made it worth the wait with a walk-off win off Jordan Hicks. Hicks' 9th could be termed nothing short of a train wreck as he gave up a single to Deshaun Kiersey Jr. and then hit Willie Castro and Mickey Gasper, actually in the opposite order, but on back-to-back pitches. After Correa ground into a force out at home, Lee poked a 99.1 mile-per-hour heater up and out of the strike zone, down the left field line, and Gasper and Castro came home with the tying and winning runs. This one had all the makings of another disappointing, painful loss like we've seen lately, as Joan Duran walked leadoff batter Abraham Toro in the 9th, and then pinch runner David Hamilton stole 2nd and 3rd and then scored on a Roman Anthony single. So the Sox had a 4-3 lead heading into the bottom of the 9th. But our fun fact is that Brooks Lee's walk-off hit was his team-high 18th on a pitch outside of the strike zone this season. Up next, Twins will send Pearson Ole to the mound in his big league debut against Boston's Lucas Giolito. First pitch, same time, 6:40 Tuesday evening at Target Field as we inch ever closer to the trade deadline. We'll have full coverage of it all. This is Locked on Twins.
All right. Thank you so much. Pirates at the Giants. Carson Whisenhunt made his MLB debut for the Giants, 2nd-round pick, their top pitching prospect, number 3 overall in their system. Struggled early on, but was able to settle things down a little bit later. But it was the Pirates taking this one by a score of 6-5, thanks to a home run by Andrew McCutchen. His 10th of the year, which makes him just the 11th player in history to reach double-digit home runs in his first 17 years of his career. Wow. So that's pretty darn good. Final game of the night, Mariners at the A's. A's coming off that sweep of Houston. Seattle split a 4-game set with your Angels, and it was the Mariners coming out on top in this one by a score to 3-1. Luis Castillo was fantastic in his start. Josh Naylor, you mentioned this earlier, hit his first home run as a Mariner to put him up 1-0. He also stole his 15th base of the year. Cal Raleigh, 2 for 4 in this one, did not have a home run, but Seattle gains another game on the Astros. Are now 3 back in the AL West. Meanwhile, Nick Kurtz, who had such a big game and week for the A's last week, he was back in the lineup after getting an off day on Sunday. He goes 1 for 4. So thank you guys for joining us for this episode of MLB Game Night. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We hope you'll come back and visit us next time right here on MLB Game Night, every game, every night.